So my friends, welcome to a new crypto update video. Bitcoin at 116,300 US dollars. In the end, we made exactly the move we talked about yesterday after we found a preliminary bottom here at 102,000 US dollars. We made up for the sell-off, or rather the relatively large sell-off from Sunday night or Monday night over the course of the day, or rather yesterday afternoon, especially with the positive stock market opening in the US. We even shot back above the golden pocket, thereby closing the largest liquidity cluster up here as well. Now we're going to take a look at whether this might already be the first small short signal. Of course, we'll also be keeping an eye on the traditional markets, but like EIT, gold, and of course the Forex market, because we might possibly get another new entry for our Euro US dollar long position today. But before we get started, feel free to leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course feel free to join the free Telegram talk and Signal group. If you're interested in updates, news and signals, feel free to join. You'll find the link for that for free down in the video description. And if you're still looking for an exchange where you can trade everything we discuss here, then feel free to sign up with my partner exchange, BingX. The spot account is now being updated again. There were a few issues with that, just so you know. I think that should be included in the update over the next few days so that, let's say, you'll be able to see the old percentages again. All right, let's dive into the chart. As I said, Bitcoin is currently at 106,300 US dollars. We can see that the entire move from yesterday was completely bought back up. The whole vector candle here was nicely taken out as well. So from my perspective, honestly, it could really go down now, even though the new situation is currently very, very bullish. What's so bullish about it? Yesterday, there were phone calls with Trump and Putin. Talks are supposed to resume about a ceasefire, but we've been hearing that all along. But neither of them wants to give up any territory. So I think this will drag on for a while. What still bothers me is simply all the 10-year treasuries and so on, which we already talked about in the live stream. Yesterday, they even broke the 5% mark, at least the 30-year government bonds did. For me, all of this is still a bit of hopium at the moment, but well, we'll see how things develop. Honestly, for me, this is now the entry into the first small short position, because I still don't believe that we're going to go all the way up to the all-time high just yet. Of course, as I said, the hopium can continue. We've already talked about this, that it's likely we might even see rising prices here again, maybe even a new all-time high up to 110,000 US dollars, especially if we take a quick look at the daily chart like we did yesterday. We didn't close above it, which bothers me a bit about the whole situation. That means we're consolidating up here in the area around 106,400, where the liquidity is simply being taken above these highs from, let's say, mid to late January. Of course, the last spike up here, in my opinion, it really looks like it needs to be taken out. And now here comes a little counterexample from my side. You know, I'm still expecting 48K. Sooner or later, that's going to happen. And I wanted to show you the same kind of spike down here as well. We have one down here too. That one hasn't been taken out yet. So just because we have a spike, sure, this really plays into my hands to say something like this. But just as a bit of an example, just because we had a spike down here, and then also one at 100,000 US dollars, or at our all-time high, which is much smaller by comparison, and that doesn't mean we have to take it out. So the momentum has to be right. At the moment, things still look relatively good. Nevertheless, I've started to cautiously take a short position here and will probably continue to scale in. Let's take a quick look at the heat map. Here too, things don't look so promising anymore in terms of what there is left to work through on the upside. Sure, we still have up to 108,000 US dollars, but down in the area of 102,000 to 101,000, there's significantly more volume or positions to be picked up. If we look at the funding rates, they've turned slightly negative again, except for crypto.com. Crypto.com does whatever it wants anyway. But apart from that, some exchanges, at least the smaller ones, are back in the negative range, while the rest are completely reasonable again or have even increased further. So it's still more of a 50-50 situation. Still, in my opinion, at least a small correction should set in, and our area around 98K should at least be reached. In my opinion, the most sensible thing would be to, let's say, refresh the market a bit, and only then head towards the all-time high, because, as I said, a number of long positions are piling up. I posted it yesterday, 675 million in long positions were flushed out of the market for now. Maybe in this sense, the 200 SMA here on the 4-hour chart will also be reached. Otherwise, just very briefly, if we turn on the vector candles, we can also see that it would fit very well to push down once more into the area around 98K. Let's move over to the altcoin sector. Ethereum. Ethereum has also worked its way back up here. It is now even at our resistance here, or is trying to break through it right now at 2,560. We're slightly above it. For now, the target remains unchanged. If we break out upwards here, it will be to $2,170 up to $2,1950, also because of this pivot line R4 that lies up here. So nothing has changed in that regard. After that, I still expect a sell-off. I'm not in a short position here yet. As I mentioned yesterday, the whole thing is just still a bit too risky for me at the moment. You can hedge a bit more with Bitcoin, but Ethereum still has enormous potential. If we take a look, it could still pump up here by about 13 or 14%, and I don't necessarily want to enter a short position here and just sit it out. That's why I'm still waiting here. Solana, what's the situation here? Same story. Yesterday we just barely missed the golden pocket. That would have been a slight long entry for us yesterday. Unfortunately, we missed it. Also with the 200 SMA, what isn't yet can still happen. So for now, I'll just leave the position, or rather the plan, on the sidelines. But it does have the aspects of the 200 SMA, golden pocket, inefficiency plus retest, and the old range, which is down here at 157, 156 US dollars. Let's see if it still plays out that way. If it doesn't play out that way, then I'll delete that scenario and instead assume that we'll pump up towards 192 or 195 US dollars. And as a result, we'll see a so-called mini altcoin season up. All right, now let's move over to the traditional markets. Let's start with gold. Gold is still not where I want it to be. So clearly we got rejected here again yesterday. It still doesn't look truly bullish yet. Let's see if we can get back into our long position here. Either, as I said, here where our previous long entry was at 3,160, or down here at our low of 3,100 US dollars. So we'll have to see how the whole thing plays out, or how it develops over the course of the day. But as I said, nothing has really changed for now. I'm still waiting to see if we get another small dump here, dump in quotation marks, more like a minor correction, so that we can enter again here, new and fresh. With the DAX, the situation looks a bit different. We got stopped out of our previous position here, but I'm considering going short again here right away. So clearly the DAX is still a total scam for me at the moment. So maybe I'll just stay away from the whole thing for now and simply wait to see how it all plays out, because I have to say gold and Forex are performing a bit better at the moment, as is crypto. Maybe I'll just stay away from the DAX for now, because it really doesn't make much sense to me at the moment, especially with prices continuing to rise and trying to short into such a trend, especially with the DAX right now, is probably way not too risky. Alright then, let's move over to the US markets. What's the situation there? The Dow Jones is still consolidating with no real movement. US Tech 100 isn't moving either, and the Nasdaq as well. Even yesterday, although it pumped a bit more bullishly upwards, it's still not really exploding, but that's fine. Not everything has to happen overnight. I still see all-time high prices here before we might possibly start a correction. That's just this psychological thing I'm expecting at the moment. The masses jump in at the all-time high, everything seems fine, and then some news or something like that comes along. Definitely fits. You can also see it in the stocks. Especially, here's a little tip for everyone who got into United Health, one which we talked about last week in the live stream. That stock is now, I think, up 15% as well. Of course, but it was risky, but still, you can see from this that with stocks, you can make some quick profits from time to time. And last but not least, the euro against the US dollar. Here too, I still expect that we'll get another entry opportunity. So I'll just adjust the entry zone a bit. Specifically, if we remove yesterday's prices here, or rather our plan from yesterday, and also this, and then turn on the vectors here on the 1 hour time frame, Liability. If we take a quick look at that, then I'd like to, if it would load, of course. So then I'd like to make another attempt down here on around 1.12 for a potential long entry. For me, right now, that would be the simplest solution to start another long here on a retest. I'll draw the line in here for us to start another long here in order to possibly catch this move, this bigger move, maybe even up to the 1.17 or 120 region. That's the idea behind it. Let's see if that's how it plays out today. In any case, there's definitely enough of a plan for today. Let's see how the markets react. And otherwise, that's it from my side. Later, there will be an XRP analysis on Crypto Guru. I'm not really making many online videos at the moment, but that will definitely change next week, since I'll have a bit more time again. Otherwise, I'd appreciate a subscription, subscribe to the channel, and feel free to activate the bell so you're always notified. And as I said, feel free to join the free Telegram talk and Signal group. That's it from me. I wish you a great day. Take care, and as always, stay crypto,